Hey everyone, welcome on to Branded. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes and beyond the brand. Today I want to talk about the impression that your brand leaves behind. And essentially, this is how do people think about your brand when you're not around, right? And really the power of what that impression can really do for you and your business. It's almost like it's working while you're not, right? While you're sleeping, while you're doing something else, while you're attending to this client is still getting the impression from your brand. So, setting up things in your business and also how you operate your business, right? It's not necessarily just the clients that you have. It's also how you engage with those clients, how you engage with future potential clients. All of these things become the impression that your brand leaves behind. Think about it this way. Most people already have a pretty good idea of where they want to shop and buy from when it comes to, where they grocery shop, where they're going to get a haircut, where they might get their oil changed, maybe where they like to buy their body lotion, right? Like whatever it is that people are consuming in their lives, I would guess at least about 80 or 90% of those things, they already know where they're getting that from, who they're getting it from, because they've likely had a positive experience with that person or that place in the past. Therefore, they will return. They will continue to make purchases with that person or that place because they had a positive experience. That's a brand impression. That business left an impression on them in such a way that it's brought them back to buy again and again and again. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, like the impression that your brand leaves behind, the just that sort of energetic feel that you have when you're around certain people and certain businesses. It's something that's incredibly memorable because it taps into the emotion of it all. When you're talking to someone who wants to purchase something, right? They're in the mindset of like, okay, right now, I'm a buyer, right? I'm at the store. I am a buyer. I will be buying something. It becomes more of an emotional versus a logical interaction because they feel like they have a need for this thing. So if they have a great experience when making that purchase, it's very likely that when they need to re-up that product or have that service again, they will go back to the same place. And that's the importance of brand impression. Now, that is one aspect of it, but there's also a secondary aspect that I don't think a lot of people consider when they're engaging with their clients, when they're trying to close that sale. When you're building your brand for the people that are right in front of you, right? They're about to be a client, maybe they're already a client, you're having interactions, conversations, you're building content for that person. That's amazing. But also be thinking about the person that your ideal client might be speaking to down the road. Because the people that you're already working with, they already know who you are and what you do, right? But what about the people who don't know who you are? And maybe they don't know where to turn when they need a certain product or service. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to ask somebody that they trust for their recommendation. So when you build your brand for the people who are already thinking about you, but also for the people who might be asking for that recommendation, you're essentially creating business like 2, 3, 4 tiers down the road, because that ripple effect, that referral, that expansion of business, that's not just one client. That's multiple clients. And this is all from a good brand impression with one client. So when it comes to how you engage with your audience being potential clients that you might work with, how you engage with your current client base. All of this will ripple into what your brand impression becomes, that impression that is left behind when you're not in the room, when you're not there. When I'm not here on this screen talking to you guys, recording these podcast episodes, what's the impression that my brand is leaving behind? Well, I know that it's a positive one because I have incredibly customized and personalized conversations with my clients. And I know that I'm leaving a really good brand impression because I'm getting referrals from those clients. So you'll know it's working because it's working. And if you're not feeling traction, then maybe you just haven't hit that sweet spot yet where you've really tapped into the emotional side of how people purchase. And let me tell you something, buyers, they don't want to be sold to. Like, I know that's not new information. You've heard that before. You've probably heard it in coaching sessions, read it in a book, same, right? But it was one of those things when I read it, I was like, duh. Like, I don't like to be sold to. If someone's trying to hassle me to get me to make that sale, to give them my credit card, I'm annoyed. I'm like, no, never mind. I didn't need this. I don't need this energetic exchange. It's wearing me the fuck out. I'm done. Maybe I didn't need this like I thought I did. So people don't like to be sold to. And more times than not, if you really give people the benefit of the doubt and put the ball in their court, give them the power, right? And that's really all it is. It's like people, when they're coming to you for services and products, they're seeking this knowingness, this confidence, this power of, I know what I'm doing, and I know that this is a good decision, and I know that doing this is going to move the needle forward for me. And so when you give them that sort of sense of empowerment, instead of trying to sell to them, more times than not, the buyer will close themselves because they already want and need the product and service that you have to offer. And all that really has to come into play, whether they're a yes or a no, is the impression of your brand that you're providing to them. So after that sales call, if you didn't close it right then and there, they're still thinking about it 30 minutes later, 24 hours later. And they're like, oh God, that was so good. I felt so empowered. I felt so in the zone. This is definitely the step forward I need to make. It felt really aligned. Boom, a new client. Giving them that sense of empowerment and trusting that the impression that you and your brand are leaving behind is what's going to make that sale. And it really comes from a place of love and growth and curiosity. There is no lack. There's only a sense of just this ever-growing abundance. Maybe that one client isn't your dream client. Maybe you thought they were, and it's just not working out. Well, don't get down on yourself. Pivot in your business if you need to, but understand that if you really focus on the impression that your brand leaves behind when you're not around, it will do the selling for you again and again and again. And when that brand impression is not only selling to the people that already know about you, but selling to the people that are potentially going to be referred to you, the people that are going to find out about you through a friend of a friend, that's super, super powerful. So think about this when you're creating content. Think about this when you're connecting with your current clients and with your future clients. Because when you approach business from a place of curiosity, right? I'm here to listen. I'm also here to think about and provide some solutions. You approach it from a place of empowerment. Everybody already has the solutions that they're looking for. They already kind of know what it is they're looking for because it's a feeling. When they hear it, they know it. And so if there's not this like super aligned fuck yes energy, then your brand impression maybe just isn't for that person, or maybe you need to dial it in a little bit. Get more intentional with what it is you do and what you really are here to help people do. And this kind of goes back to the phrase, I mean, it was years ago when I first started doing business coaching, and I was in the network marketing space, and I kept hearing people talk about like the benefit of the benefit, because I was doing weight loss stuff. And it really is so true. It like applies to all sorts of business. You don't really need to tell people what that face value benefit is. Like, let's say you have weight loss products. Yes, people are going to lose weight. Duh, right? Like if they do the system right, they're going to lose weight 98% of the time. There's proof of it out there, right? You're posting testimonials all the time. There's proof of it. What's different though is what benefit are they getting out of losing the weight? And you're only going to know this if you actually get to know people and you allow that knowledge of who your client is, who your client's friends are, who they're talking to, who they're going to be referring to, people. When you get to know and personalize that side of the conversation, that's the brand impression, because then you're speaking to the human. You're not speaking to weight loss, right? You're speaking to the person that is having very like niched down feelings. And what's so amazing as a human race, like we all kind of feel the same things at some point or another in our lives. We're never alone in any of the things that we feel or experience. Someone out there has experienced it. And knowing this, it really relieves a lot of pressure and stress and judgment, right? That I'm not doing something wrong. I just need to be more intentional, more aware of how I'm running my business, how I'm communicating with my clients. If things aren't really working out the way I anticipated they would, turn the mirror around, right? Take a look at how you're operating, how you're connecting, how you're communicating, and that will likely give you the answer. So think about the impression that your brand leaves behind. Think about when you've been at a networking event, or you did a live recently, or you had some sort of interaction with a present or future client, and what happened after that, right? Where did the conversation go after that? And thinking about this is a really fantastic way of dialing in what's working for your business and what's not. Because like I said, when it's working, it's just working. You just know it. You feel it. Every step you're taking is the right step forward. Even if you kind of mess up, make a mistake, fumble a little bit along the way. I was reading something recently, and they were talking about how like when your work is about 80% ready to go, launch it. Put it out to the world, because perfectionism does nothing. It literally keeps you standing still. So this brand impression that you're leaving behind, it's movement, it's growth, it's expansion, it's empowerment. It's putting the ball in their court and saying, let's go fucking do this. Let's make your business work, operate, run, look beautiful, connect, sell, all the things. So what's your brand impression? I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Branded, the podcast. Please rate and review. And for more information, visit